Hello bunnies and welcome back all to Woodland Bunny, a cozy space to talk books. Today we're excitedly going to be discussing my best books of 2023, so let's get to it. I have that many books to discuss with you. I only have 5 books to talk through today. I didn't have the best reading year in terms of rating, it was quite mediocre, but the books that I did enjoy I absolutely loved and they resonated with my soul and really hit home, and I cannot wait to share them all with you. I just want to preface that these books are in no order. They are all of my favourite books and I don't think I could rank them because I love them equally as much for different reasons, of course, but they all mean just as much to me as the next one. Beginning with By Ash, Oak and Thorn. Now this had themes of wholesome life lessons, nature, human relationship, simple joys and animals being friends. I feel like the writing in this and the imagination sparking plot made me feel that childlike wonder again, and it really did feel like I was dreaming. I felt so nostalgic while reading this book, and it was just so simple, so joyous, so lovely and just so incredibly wholesome, and I just highly recommend it. It has little diagrams throughout it, it's really quick to read, the font is huge, it's not a big book at all, and if you're feeling in a reading slump or if you're just wanting something that is so wholesome, you don't have to think very much, that is very low sort of fantasy, more like imagination, childlike wonder, then I recommend this book to you. Next up we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and now I don't know whether it was the writing, the morally grey characters, the plot line, the idea around this book, but it all captivated me, and that doesn't happen very often in fantasies. I find that I have a little bit where it drags and a little bit where I'm pushing through, but this book, it was just go and action constantly, and I was enthralled with the writing and with this whole book the whole way through it, and not once did I want to put it down. This is taking superheroes but turning them bad, and usually I'm not interested in something like that at all, but this book was amazing and I want to read the sequel so much. I was listening to this book via audio and I actually started going the long way home just to be able to listen to this book more. I started doing more chores just to get enwrapped and enthralled within this writing, and yeah, it was just so good and I highly recommend it. Even if you don't read fantasy very often, I feel like this is a really good place to start because it has dual POV as well, so you're constantly on your feet and on the ball trying to flick through the different perspectives, and there's this overarching mystery as to what's going to happen, and it's a revenge plot, and yes, it was just so very delightful and I highly recommend. Then we have the stunning You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. Now, oh my goodness, the emotions that this book made me feel are just, I don't really think I can put it into words, so let me tell you the themes encapsulated within this book. That is an age gap trope, grief, finding yourself in love, open ending, beautiful scenery, slow burn, bisexuality in relationships, but just so much more. The raw emotions that this book housed and the way that it was told, the writing style, I still think about this daily ever since I read it, and I read it all the way back in March 2023 and I still think about it to this day quite often. I reread this book multiple times and it's just one that I highly recommend. It will definitely make you feel so many things, so many different emotions. It really packs a punch. The writing is beautiful, the characters are so three-dimensional, and just the story in general is just so raw and real, and yes, highly recommend. Next up we have A Kind of Spark. So if you didn't know, I am on the spectrum, but I think that's besides the point because I feel like everybody should read this one. I loved it and it resonated with me so much. I feel like because I am on the spectrum and I've never had a character before in which I feel as though I can 100% relate to them. I've always had to put extra head work in to try and figure out what they actually mean and what they're actually saying, and sometimes when it's sarcasm it goes straight over my head, and just little things like that. When I'm in a character's head, usually I'm having to put in twice the amount of effort to actually get to grips with this character rather than the story as well. I feel like most people when they're reading a book, they understand almost what the character's thinking and they would think similar things in the situation and how they're acting and whether that's an appropriate way to act, and just kind of focus on the story. Whereas personally I have to do both. I have to focus on the character and think to myself, okay, so this is how they're acting and just blah. But this book, wow, it just really made my inner child so incredibly happy. And it is middle grade, and I feel as though that just opens it up to be an easier read for so many people, just to understand. And it's so simple to read, so easy to read, but it just helps you get to grips with what it feels like to be autistic and different. And yeah, I just highly recommend, and I just adored this book so much. It made me so happy while reading it. So the themes encapsulated in this one include special interests, of course, bullying, autistic rep, going through school and being different, and navigating life as an autistic person. So yeah, those are the themes encapsulated in this book, and I just I adored it. It made my heart so happy, my inner child so happy, and I highly recommend this to everyone and anyone. Then I have the final book to share with you for the best books of 2023, in which is Every Heart a Doorway. Again, the imagination, the characters, and just the dreamlike wonder encapsulated within this book was so amazing. I loved all of the characters in here, the different worlds that you went to, and for such a short book, it had so much in there. I really need to continue on this series because I've heard that the other books are just as good, but focusing solely on this book, we were traveling to different dimensions. We were having almost a mystery run throughout it. We were having three-dimensional characters, and it was just amazing how much was packed into this book and how it didn't feel overwhelming, and it just flowed by, and the writing was so easy to comprehend. And yes, I just highly recommend. This is another one of those that if you are in a reading slump and you just want to escape, then I recommend this book to you. So my friends, those are all of my best books of 2023, and not a huge amount, but the ones that I have here really do mean a lot to me, and I really did enjoy. I hope you had a wonderful reading year of 2023. You found some best books that you love and will be favourites forever, and I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you have a wonderful day or night. Here's to 2024 and more reading and more adventures together, friends. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye!